Welcome, everybody. Happy January. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have some amazing river cruises to talk to you about. And I have to say, since my first river cruise in 2002, I just love Avalon and other river cruises I've been on. I can't help but compare to Avalon. There's just so many great, um, even little things that they do so well. So I'm really excited that we have Leslie Schaff here from the Globus family of brands, and she's going to share with you about Avalon Waterways, and she's going to talk about some of the two group departures that we have, one in Bordeaux and the other one for the Christmas markets for 2025. Leslie has been with Globus Family Brands for over 20 years. She knows it inside and out, and she's traveled with them many times. So I will pass it over to her, and then we're excited for your presentation.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, everyone. I'm just we can see my screen. Everything's great. So as Julie mentioned, actually, I remember when Julie went on her first river cruise many years ago, and she has watched Avalon uh, actually evolve in the last 20 years. And we offer such an amazing product. We listen to our guests. We have come out every year we come out with different excursions. Our ship design has changed over the years, and we truly listen to our guests, and our guests are very important to us. With the word elevated on my first screen is that we don't call ourselves a luxurious river cruise line, because I always say we're like that moderate one kind of in the middle that a lot of people can identify themselves with. So I'm going to show you lots of images. I'm going to talk about the ship design itself. I'll talk about excursions today. I'll talk about what's included on a river cruise. I'll talk about where we go. And then I'm going to highlight in a little more detail the Bordeaux itinerary and the Christmas markets itinerary on the Danube. And I also will highlight a little bit of the Douro itinerary, because that was the last river cruise Julie went on last spring, and it's a fairly new itinerary for us that is trending. And she's a wealth of knowledge because she's experienced it, and not too many travel advisors out there have experienced it because it's such a new product. But Avalon Waterways is definitely a five-star experience. Even though we don't use the word luxury, we're cruising elevated. It definitely is a five-star experience when it comes to the river ship itself, with the hotel amenities, to the excursions that we offer, to the service that we offer. It definitely has that five-star feeling. When you're on Avalon Waterways, you're going to notice that we don't have many people on board. We do have two sizes of river ships, actually three, if you include the Douro in Europe. So the Douro river ship, the Avalon Allegria, she's only 102 guests. If you're looking on the Christmas market itinerary, that river ship has 166 guests. And our itinerary for the Bordeaux region, that river ship only has 128 guests. So we have the three sizes of river ships. Most of them are the 135-meter ships, which is like the Christmas market itinerary. And then we do have quite a few in the 110-meter ships, which is like the one in Bordeaux. But we do have a high crew ratio. So for every three guests, we have one crew member. And we do have a high satisfaction rating worldwide for all of our itineraries, based on our cuisine, based on our excursions, based on the hotel, the river ship itself, and based on the entire experience. Avalon is actually the #1 river cruise line rated on Cruise Critic. And they have awarded us for Best River Cruise Line for shore excursions, which I'll talk a lot about today. They've awarded us for the Best European River Cruise Line. And they've also awarded us for our cabins, which we call Panorama Suites. So with Avalon Waterways, again, we're the #1 river cruise line on Cruise Critic. We do listen to our guests, and you truly would have an amazing experience on Avalon. Now, here's our suite fleet for 2025. The ships I will be highlighting today is, I'll talk a little bit about the Avalon Allegria, which is on the Douro River. And then you will be talking a little bit about the Artistry 2 again, which is for the Bordeaux itinerary. But this is like an example of a panorama suite on Avalon. So this is category B, A, and P when you're looking at our map or you're talking to Julie and Colette. This is what most of the time what you're going to be booking. We do have rooms in the lead-in category with the windows, but this is majority of our ship is the Panorama Suites. 80% of our rooms are this. And the features of these rooms are the bed positions to look out onto the waterway. So if you're river cruising in Bordeaux in the fall, or you're on a Christmas market cruise and you want to watch the stars and the lights, or maybe you've chosen a river cruise in the spring and the summer, there is a view every time you come to your room. That's an 11-foot window, as you can see in the image here, with a 7-foot opening. Avalon, as you can see, also doesn't have a physical outside balcony to walk onto. But when that window is opened up, that's a balcony right into your room. So your living space is used 100% of the time. You can have the window open up, it feels like a balcony. You can have a window closed and have all that space in your room. So that's a really important feature for a river cruiser. When we came out with our Panorama Suite ship design, is people said the space was really important to them, but also the feel of a balcony. So when you're on that Christmas market cruise, you most likely will not open up the window, right? So that space is all of yours. And again, you can watch the Christmas lights and the stars right from bed. And if you're in Bordeaux, you might open up that window and have that balcony feeling. So again, for all seasons, this is a great design of the room. The bed does separate to 2 twin beds. So if you are traveling with somebody, like your mother, daughter interested in going on a river cruise, maybe 2 friends that are traveling together. Yes, the beds do separate into 2 twin beds. I'll give you another image of this room while I continue to talk about the room. There's a nice desk, as you can see here. We have refrigerators in the room. There's plenty of closet space to hang all your clothes and put your empty suitcase under the bed. There's a television you can see here with on-demand movies and some English-speaking news stations. You can see there is a love seat, a chair, a little cocktail table. And again, the wall is actually angled, so there's quite a bit of space between the bed and the wall there. So I know it's hard to see in this image here, but there's quite a bit of space. And the bathrooms are absolutely stunning as well. I'm looking at my next screen and I realize I don't have a bathroom picture, but Julie can talk to you all about how amazing the bathrooms are on Avalon. They're large countertops, large mirrors. We have the L'Occitane bath essentials, the corner large showers, his and her towels. Amazing, amazing design when it comes to not only the room, but the bathroom. So when it comes to other spaces on our river ship, we do have 2 lounges on Avalon. We have what we call the Panorama Lounge, which is at the front of the river ship with all the panoramic windows. Again, you can see everything from the lounge. We do port talks here. We bring on entertainment here. We have a dance floor in this room. We also have happy hour in the Panorama Lounge every night, about 5:45, 6 o'clock. We'll have happy hour. That is complimentary on Avalon. We also have an observation lounge. That's the bottom right-hand picture. And this is an area outside of the lounge, outside. It has comfortable chairs. It has tables. And it's just to enjoy the view and the ambiance outside right in front of the Panorama Lounge. But you can see it is covered. So if it's wind, rain, or sun, you will be sheltered. And it's a great area to go and have a beverage before dinner, or it's a great area just to have a cup of coffee. And it's a great area just to enjoy and sit outside while you're cruising as well. When it comes to the Panorama Lounge, we offer a few cuisine options in the Panorama Lounge. We have a light lunch offered here, as well as a light dinner offered here, which is in both a smaller buffet style. And a lot of people love to come here for the light lunch and light dinner. If you don't want to, sit in the dining room, you want more of a quiet space to go to, this is not an alternative area to have some dining. We also have coffee and tea and cake service every day at 4 o'clock. I mentioned there's happy hour in the lounge. And again, this is where all the activities will happen as well. We do have a club lounge, and this is on the royal deck towards the back of the river ship. And again, this area does have panoramic views. but it's more of our quiet area. And it does have a self-serve coffee machine, which you can help yourself to a latte, Americano, hot chocolate. Of course, we have a tea station here as well. We have cookies and some other pastries. We have dried fruit and nuts and help yourself. And this lounge is open 24 hours. There is no service in here. Again, it's the quiet area. But the lounge itself is meant for if you want to go sit and relax, read a book, maybe hang out with your fellow cruisers and have a conversation, play maybe a board game, some cards. And again, you do have panoramic views back here as well. And it's actually one of the most popular areas, especially with the coffee, tea, espresso machine. People just come here after an excursion and relax and talk about maybe the experience they had on the excursion that day. Your meals are included on a river cruise. I mentioned in the Panorama Lounge, we offer the lighter breakfast the lighter lunch and lighter dinner. But we also have other alternative areas where to dine as well. We have our panorama dining room, which is the main area. And majority, I would say 80 to 90% of our guests, this is where they go. This is where you're going to find your buffet breakfast with an a la carte menu for eggs Benedict or Belgian waffles or eggs Florentine. We include mimosas for breakfast. We, of course, include the cappuccinos, coffees, teas, espressos, any juice. There's actually smoothies in the buffet as well. This is also an area, the Panorama Dining Room, where we have a buffet lunch with a carving station, pasta station. We also have an a la carte menu at lunch for like Caesar salads, chickens, hamburger and fries. They're always offered daily in our a la carte dining, as well as we do have our featured sandwich every day in our a la carte menu as well. And they say the dining room is also where we have our 4-course dinner every evening, which does change every evening, but we do have a standing menu that includes salmon, rice, we have chicken, we have the Caesar salad, like I mentioned, also at lunch. We have that at dinner as well for people, steak and potatoes, for people that want the comfort of home. A standing menu we always offer, but every night the menu will change for our features. And we truly have all of our menus are designed for the farm to fork flavor, which means we're focusing on the local cuisine in the region that you are cruising. So in France, it would be more French cuisine. In Germany and Austria and Hungary would be more of their cuisine. If you're in Portugal, more Portuguese cuisine. So those are the really near and dear to our heart, to make sure that we have those cultural choices for you on the menu. And we always have our chef specials as well. We have our Panorama Bistro, like I mentioned. This is in the Panorama Lounge, and this is where you can have a lighter buffet lunch. Very similar choices that you would have in the Panorama Dining Room, but on a smaller plate scale. We also have in the Panorama Bistro, we have a light buffet dinner as well. And a little Leslie tip to you about this, and I think if Julie's experienced it, she would also give you this tip. A lot of people, when you are actually looking at a menu, and I'm really bad with menus, I get a little, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, but I know I can't eat it all. So when you go to the Panorama Bistro for dinner, it actually is a small buffet of all the choices on the 4-course menu downstairs in the dining room. So you could truly try a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We do have our Sky Grill, and this is most likely when you are on the Bordeaux itinerary or traveling on the Douro or any of other seasonal itineraries, May through September. We also have the Sky Grill on the grill lunch on the Sky Deck, on the Panorama Sky Deck. So you can have more of that barbecue feeling lunch. We don't have any open flame barbecues due to fire hazards, but it has burger, fries, chicken, coleslaw, a lot of sausage choices, of course, ice cream for dessert. And we do offer room service. So we have, when you check in, you're in your Panorama Suite or your Avalon Deluxe stateroom, we have actually a little card that will have some breakfast choices if you want to order breakfast to your room. If you want room service for lunch or dinner, that's based on a request through our reception, and we're happy to fulfill that. Of course, if you're tired or not feeling well, some people would like to stay in their room for lunch or for dinner, so we could offer the room service. There's no charge as well for our room service. So here's some more images As you can see here, there's the breakfast image in the room. There's a Sky Grill image. There's a Panorama Bistro. There's a couple having a nice some cuisine for lunch as well. And then we have the picnic here. Now, if you're on an excursion, let's say you go on a bike ride or you're on a hike and you want to have a little lunch packed up, we can totally do that for you. I've had that when actually I was on Seine River Cruise a few years ago. They packed up a lunch for me, but and it's a sandwich and some fruit and some pastries, and it's really nice. But it's based on request as well. I talked about the farm to fork flavor, and here is all of those choices I was talking about. We also include beer and wine at lunch and at dinner. The wines do change daily, and again, we're focusing on the regions that we are traveling on for our wine. Usually you have a choice of a red, a white, and a rosé. Some cruises, depending on the region, you might even have choices of 2 reds, 2 whites. But you always will have choices of different wines that are included at lunch and at dinner. And we also include soft drinks at all meals. We include juice at all meals. So again, river cruising is very inclusive. On the bottom right-hand corner, that is a cheese plate that we would have for dessert after dinner. And I can never say no to a good cheese plate. And it's got some jam, some arches, cheese, some crackers, sometimes there's breadsticks. Every night the cheese plate changes. So I always suggest to try the cheese plate every night because it's not the same cheeses like you sometimes find in other buffets or other dining rooms. They're always the same Avalon. They're always different every night. And I mentioned about all the complimentary beverages. When it comes to the happy hour and the complimentary happy hour, we include beer, wine, cocktails, mocktails, and soft drinks during the happy hour. So there's a lot of choices when it comes to the happy hour included drinks as well. But throughout the river cruise, especially at all your meals, there's a lot of choices of complimentary beverages. When you see more and you do more on a river cruise, you're very close to the proximity. So most of the time you do walk off the river ship. If you are overnighting somewhere, when you're reading the itinerary, and I have some on some of my slides today, they will talk about overnighting or overnight cruising. One area I would highlight, and Julie has experienced it, is the Douro River. There is no overnight cruising due to you're in a World UNESCO Heritage area. We're not able to cruise at night due to the regulations. So most of it is overnight docking. And the Douro River is more in a valley. So most of the time when you're doing your excursions, we have to transfer you to the area where you're doing your excursion. Unlike the Christmas market cruises and even Bordeaux, and you're going to be walking off the river ship and you're going to be in the heart of the cities and villages. And we all about the local connection. Avalon doesn't have a big shop on board where you can buy souvenirs. We're all about local. With Avalon, we have local cruise directors, European cruise directors on board that speak English. We have hired local guides everywhere that we travel. We also have local motor coaches, like in Portugal, when we need to have a motor coach to transfer you to your excursion. We will have local motor coaches contracted with local drivers that know the area. So we're all about connecting you, again, with the local people. And then when you're out shopping, when you're on your local guided tours, again, like for the Christmas markets, we're all about promoting local vendors and local shops as well. And it's all about this worldly experience, especially when you are river cruising to Europe. When it comes to Avalon, there's a lot of choice. I already talked about cuisine choices, but it also comes to not only the cuisine and the itinerary choices that you have with Avalon, and the wine choices you would have with Avalon, but there's also choices of included excursions. All of our itineraries will offer active discovery and classic excursions. I would say the Christmas market itinerary, though, is a little more heavily focused on the Christmas markets themselves versus the excursions. But like the Bordeaux itinerary I'll talk about, there is biking, there's wine tasting, there's a classic walking tours. So you'll see the choices more in the Bordeaux itinerary. But active is pretty self-explanatory. Most Avalon itineraries, if you're looking at Bordeaux or you're looking at the Douro, not the Douro, but maybe a Danube cruise or the Rhine cruise or a Rhone cruise or a Seine cruise, we mostly have biking daily now as one of our choices. We do have an adventure host on board Avalon that can able to run biking excursions daily. Why not the Douro? Again, because of where the ship is positioned in a valley, and we hate for Avalon guests to have to bike up a hill. You know, we want you to be biking on the flat ground like you see in the image here. Discovery is more of our painting workshops to our cooking and culinary excursions. And our classic excursions are more of a historic focus, like a classic walking tour, learning about the sites, learning about the history. With all of our excursions, you are given a little receiver and a headset so you can listen to the guide in your ear and not have to worry about staying close and someone shouting at you. But there's a lot of different choices of excursions. Like I said, when I go through the Bordeaux itinerary, you will see the different choices you have daily. So there is 77 cruises across 11 rivers in 24 countries. So we have a lot to offer with Avalon Waterways. With Avalon, you could also book pre and post nights at the hotels, pre a river cruise, post a river cruise, as well as we have some packages that you can book, like extensions to Prague, to Lucerne, to Paris, to Lisbon. So you'll find all of that with Avalon Waterways. And Julie mentioned in an introduction that I don't only just work for Avalon, I work for a company called the Globus Family of Brands. And Avalon offers itineraries that with a Globus tour. So most of them are like the Rhine River itinerary. You can do the romantic Rhine, and then you can do a Globus tour of Switzerland. So Colette and Julie can help you with all the choices that we offer. I'm going to be focusing today on, again, 2 itineraries and to highlight one other itinerary. So, but this is the river map for Europe. And you can see all the rivers are the color coding here on the map. I absolutely love this map. You can find this map if Julia and Colette have given you a brochure. The map is in the brochure. And we do have this image I can send to Julie and Colette as well to send out to you. But you can see all the different rivers Avalon cruises in Europe. You can see this is the Bordeaux region. I'm going to use my mouse here. I have a pen here. I can laser point. So here is the Bordeaux region, which I will be talking about in a moment. This is the Rhone River here, the Rhone and the Saône for the south of France. The river up here, you're also in France on the Seine River, one of my favorite rivers. So a lot of history in this area, of course, with Normandy, but the cuisine and the Calvados and the cheese is absolutely amazing in this area. We have our tulip time cruises up here in Holland and Belgium. And of course, the iconic Rhine River in green here from Switzerland up into Germany, a little bit of France, into Holland. And then the Moselle River, you can see here the little arm off the Rhine River here. The Moselle is famous, of course, for the wines. It's like stepping back in time with all the villages. The blue river here is the Main River. It's shaped like a snake, as you can see, a lot of more winds and turns. This is where you get your Bamberg, your Würzburg. They filmed the Three Musketeers, the latest, I think it was filmed in the 90s or early 2000s. The Three Musketeers, it was actually filmed in Würzburg at the bishop's residence. It wasn't filmed at Versailles. We also see here the Danube River. And this is iconic and a very iconic river. You have, of course, Vienna, Budapest. So you can see here you have Germany, Austria, and Hungary on this itinerary. And then we have the Black Sea itinerary. So you can go further east from Budapest all the way to Bucharest, and even extensions into Croatia and Transylvania. So this is, and then off the map here is the Portugal, the Douro itinerary, as you can see here. So this is where Avalon cruises. Again, we have 77 itineraries to choose from with all of these rivers. And you can start with a shorter cruise, like the Christmas market cruise. I'm talking about the 5-night cruise, or you can do a 21, 22-night cruise from Amsterdam all the way to Bucharest. There's a lot of choices with Avalon. So first, I would just highlight the river cruise that Julie just experienced last year, which is definitely a trending itinerary with Avalon, and it's the Douro River. And I kind of highlighted it a little bit with being in a World UNESCO Heritage area. You're in the Douro Valley. Lots of different choices of excursions on here. We've even improved our excursions from the 24 season to 25 and added more wine tastings and more active excursions as well. I think there's a kayaking experience now as one of our choices for in 2025. But why would you go on the Douro River cruise? And it's mostly because of the magical landscapes, like the image here. Is, of course, the Europe's oldest wine region is in the Douro Valley. It definitely has the world-class cuisine with the Portuguese cuisine, with the fish, the meats, the vegetables, the veg oil, the cheese. The sweets in Portugal are absolutely divine. And they're very rich in variety when it comes to the cuisine in Portugal, especially in the Douro Valley. And then the World UNESCO Heritage. Most of the cruise you are sailing in a World UNESCO Heritage, which is absolutely unique. You know, you come across a lot of World UNESCO Heritage sites on other itineraries, but this itinerary, you're right in the heart of this special area, and World UNESCO has really acknowledged it. But this is a great cruise if you love scenery, if you love wine, if you love culture. The river ship is smaller. It's only 102 guests as well. Now here's an image of the Portugal is famous for the wine region. A lot of people, this is why they want to do the Douro River cruise. They have been cultivating wine for over 2,000 years. Like I said, it's one of Europe's oldest wine regions. And it welcomes people to Portugal for the wine. And I always say the wine is better when you're in the destination. And we also have, Portugal's famous for that green wine, Verde wine. I tried it when I was in the Azores a few months ago. Oh my gosh, so good. And I saw Avalon added one excursion, so you can be trying the green wine, as I call it. But it's not really green, don't worry. But it's very fruity and very delicious. You can see it's only 765 kilometers long, linking the actual river links Madrid, Spain to Portugal Atlantic coast. And we're really truly focusing in this area here. Here's a little image of the Avalon Alegria river ship. And I mentioned she is a little smaller than the other river ships with the other itineraries. She's only 102 guests, 51 rooms, 37 of them are the Panorama Suites, and 14 are our Avalon Deluxe staterooms, which are the leading categories, which are these windows down here of the river ship. I actually have my colleagues' images of the river ship. So this is the Avalon Deluxe stateroom. So I know I didn't show you a marketing image earlier in the presentation, but here's the Avalon Deluxe stateroom. This is the rooms that are at water level. This is when you ever see the price from, and you'll see that on Julie's flyers promoting the groups, the price from. You'll see this is the room, and they are spacious. These rooms are 172 square feet. But they don't have that seat in Panorama Suites. And the Panorama Suites are actually 200 square feet. This room here, so you can see there's a little more space in here. And I mentioned before, you can split the two beds to two twin beds. So this is the look and design of the newest ship, the Avalon Alegria. The Avalon Alegria does have one feature that no other river ship has for Avalon. It has a pool on the sky deck. Because of the region we're cruising, the ship was designed for Portugal. It does have a small swimming pool. All of our other river ships have a little whirlpool on the sky deck. And all the other river ships have the whirlpool. This is the only river ship that has the swimming pool. And this is just another image of the sky deck on the Avalon Alegria. And I know in my marketing, they never talk about this, but we do have a fitness center on all of our river ships that we actually invested in, get some new equipment. They all have a treadmill, a bike, they have free weights, they have yoga mats. And we also have complimentary bottled water, not only in the fitness center, but you'll have a bottle of glass bottles in your room that's complimentary to fill your water bottle up. And we do have a water refill station in the club lounge. The station is called Be Well, and it has flavored waters as well as sparkling waters, and it is all complimentary. Avalon also has 2 ice machines on board. That's complimentary, one, of course, in the club lounge, and one's right outside the panorama dining room. So I want to talk a little more detail about the Chateau wineries and charming villages, Bonjour Bordeaux itinerary. It is a 7-night itinerary, but you have options to add pre and post nights on. You can also do a back-to-back river cruise because this itinerary is in France. Avalon also offers the Rhone itinerary in the south of France and the Seine itinerary in the north of France that you could do a back-to-back itinerary with Bordeaux and the Seine or Bordeaux and the Rhone. Or we actually do 21 nights with Avalon all in France. But Julie's focusing on her group in 2025 for the Bordeaux region. Julie is and same with Colette, are very innovative travel advisors. Julie is in touch with all of her salespeople like myself, and she always wants to know what's new, what to market, and she's really intelligent that way. She's not doing what everybody else is doing. She wants to know, and again, she was on the Douro River. I haven't experienced the Douro yet. Julie experienced it last year, again, because she's intelligent. She saw we brought the product out. She was like, yeah, I want to do it. She booked a group and sold it. And I love how she's doing this with Bordeaux too, because Bordeaux is also a new itinerary for Avalon. We are moving our beautiful Avalon Artistry 2 over to the Bordeaux region for 2025. It's on 2 rivers, as you can see on the map here. The Garonne River, I'm hopefully pronouncing that right, and the Dordogne River, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and the Bordeaux region. And this river cruise does start and end in the same city. So it's really easy, or for flights or for your pre and post, it's a really easy river. And why do you want to go to Bordeaux? Well, there's reasons why I want to go, and there's probably reasons why you want to go. But first off, it's the world-class wine and food. It definitely is. France is known, everywhere in France is world-class wine and food, but this area itself is really, really special, especially because of the wine pairings, the culinary choices. And Avalon offers wine pairing and culinary experiences right on the river ship, so that we set tastings of the Bordeaux wine. Another area is because of the charming villages. This is a unique area, traveling these 2 iconic rivers, and it provides seamless access to these enchanting towns that you might not go to, like Blaye and Libourne or Cadillac, and if you would go to on your own, they're kind of off that beaten path. And this river itinerary truly is off the beaten path. You know, probably the most famous city is Bordeaux or Saint-Emilion on this itinerary. But there's central chateaus to visit, of course, the wineries to visit, and the French culture. It is a very scenic waterway. There's views, it's picturesque landscapes, of course, with the golden fields and the castles and the vineyards and the medieval chateaus that you'll see along in the area. But the Bordeaux countryside offers unmatched photo opportunities. So it is a very picturesque area, like the image that you see on my slide. And again, something like the Douro region, it is historical and cultural, and it has that World UNESCO Heritage sites that you could visit. And again, I'll mention some of those when I talk about the itinerary. It is on that beautiful Avalon Artistry 2 is your embarkation, and that would be on the embarkation ship. On the artistry, this is the image of the expression gag, staff, but this is the same way you would see on the artistry 2. They don't have a new photo shoot for artistry 2. I'm sure that's coming this spring. On the ship, you will have your bartender, like rag off here, or you can see the check-in, check-off kiosk. But when you check in that day, you can explore the river ship, you can explore Bordeaux, and then your rooms should be available around 2 or 3 o'clock. You'll find your luggage Avalon will bring the luggage to your room. This is my image of my luggage in the room. We actually have these luggage blankets they put on the bed to make sure that your bed doesn't get dirty. Like if you're like me, I can't bend over on the ground and unpack a suitcase. I need to be at a level with my suitcase. So these luggage blankets are on the bed. If your suitcase is a little bigger than the ones I traveled with here in this image, you'll probably find it rolled next to the bed, and you can do your unpacking. Like I mentioned, you have plenty of closet space, storage space in your room. And then on day one, you also have your welcome reception in the Panorama Lounge, where you'll meet fellow travelers, you will meet the cruise director, you will meet the captain, the hotel manager. They do have, they go over what to expect in the next 7 nights, 8 days, as well as they talk about some of the safety measures of the river ship. But there's a video also in the room that goes through a lot of this information that they talk about in the port talk on the first day. Welcome reception, we have, of course, we'll have sparkling wine. We have, again, happy hour here, as you can see the images here included. And then we'll have dinner about 7 o'clock. And that's what time the dinner is most evenings. The dinner is after a port talk around 7 o'clock every night. But it is an open sitting for our dinner on Avalon, and it's not a one-time sitting. So you don't have to go exactly at 7 o'clock. Maybe you want to enjoy your beverage, you're having a great conversation with your fellow cruisers in the lounge. You can walk down at 7:30, no problem. Walk down quarter to 8 o'clock, no problem. Just to know, we do open the dining room right at 7. So just looking at the time, I'm going to go a little over some of the choices of excursions on this itinerary. And again, Julie and Colette can answer any of your questions. But again, this is an iconic itinerary focusing on chateaus, focusing on wine and the cuisine of the area, and truly focusing on the history. So we do have on day 2, there is 2 choices of included excursions. And you'll see that you can visit a Chateau de la Bride, the fortress-style castle with impressive moat, as you can see in the image here. Or you can do a discovery excursion, enjoy a wine tasting of Sauternes, the beloved golden yellow wine at a local chateau. So when you actually see these excursions in the itineraries and the choices, or you're reading it, your communication from Avalon once you've booked, you can choose one of these excursions, and you can choose these excursions at your final payment time. You'll get an email from Avalon, or Julie and Colette will remind you that it's time to book your excursions. So if you're going to Bordeaux to taste all the wine, you know you're going to do this wine tasting, Sauternes, the beloved golden yellow wine at the local chateau, I would choose that in advance to make sure that you're getting the excursion that you want. In the evening, Avalon will offer entertainment about 2 or 3 times on a 7-night cruise in the evening. So on this evening, we will have a local live entertainment on board the river ship. And we will be docking overnight in Cadillac sur Garonne. So you will be in an area where you can, if you want to go out at night, you'll be in an area you can. On day 3 in Cuisac Fort Medoc, we have an active excursion, and it is an e-bike excursion. So if you are like me and don't really understand what this e-bike excursions are about, but I'll tell you what, a little secret. I did an e-bike excursion. I don't think I can ever go back to a pedal bike unless I'm on flat ground. E-bikes are definitely a way to go, and they are an easy ride. The excursions are absolutely stunning. You're in it. I always say you're in it. You're not on a motor coach looking at the views. You're truly in it when you're on an e-bike excursion. I know Colette likes to ride bikes because I know she rode a bike when I was in the Arctic with her. So this would be one of your excursion choices. When I'm giving you these choices as well in this talk today, they are included. You don't have to pay extra for these. River cruising is very inclusive, and there's so much included. Avalon does offer some optional excursions, but they would be offered when you have free time. But most of the excursions are always included with Avalon, and Julie can tell you her story of Avalon and how much it is included. We also have a discovery choice, a guided visit to a historic chateau to enjoy a tasting of the local Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon wines. So you can ride a bike through the countryside and the vineyards, or you can go wine tasting is your choices on this day. When it comes to this day, we will be overnight docking in Cusack Fort de Medoc. And then we're going to be in Blaye and Berg. And there'll be two choices here. One, a classic choice, a guided tour, the Citadel in Blaye, followed by a scenic drive along the famed route de la Corniche. Or a discovery choice, a discover Blaye from a different perspective, including a visit to a local art gallery with wine tasting. Now, when I had my training on this almost a year ago now, we had some young ladies that were training us from our office in Switzerland. And they both said this was their favorite excursion, was the local art gallery and the wine tasting. Because you learn the history of this local art gallery, you learn the drama of the owner, you meet everybody. They said it was so personable when you're there, plus a wine tasting, of course, from their private vineyard. But they said it was just the energy, the vibe that they got, the learning of the history of this art gallery and this family, and of course the wine tasting. This excursion truly did stand out. And a lot of times when we travel nowadays, it's not those World UNESCO Heritage Sites or those cathedrals that are the memories. It's something completely unique that would take you by surprise. It would be a memory, and it could be a local person that you meet. We do have a scenic afternoon sailing on this day as well through the Douro River, and we end up in Berg. There is free time to explore the village of Borg, or you can join a guided optional excursion to experience the fine champagne of cognac that is made in the Remy Martin tasting. So you can see there is some day sailing on this day as well. We do run an optional excursion in Borg. In Libourne, we do have an excursion to Saint Emilion. Oh, this place is so charming. It is a World UNESCO Heritage Site. I have been here. All the local artist shops, the walking and the winding roads. It is definitely, if you've been to, where could I compare this to? Saint Emilion, kind of like Rudesheim on the Rhine or Avignon on the Rhone, but on the smaller scale, more artsy scale. But absolutely, you're stepping back in time into history. It's definitely a charming place. You'll learn about Vincent van Gogh in this region as well with the art, and you'll learn about all the legendary landscapes as well. And again, it's a World UNESCO Heritage Site, and I did it when I did my Rhone River. I went to this area, and it was an optional excursion. I had to pay. Well, this one is included on the Bordeaux itinerary. And then later we sailed to Bordeaux, and we actually overnight docking in Bordeaux. So when you're in Bordeaux, we do have a lot of Bordeaux time because you're overnight docked from day 5 to day 6. You're docked in Bordeaux on day 6 to day 7, and you embark on day 8. So you do have the 2 nights in the Bordeaux area. Now, when we say overnight docking on any of our itineraries, it could be that we arrive at 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning as well. It's not like you're going to have to be able to be there that night. So just to heads up, depending on the lock schedule and our cruising schedule. In Bordeaux on day 6, we join a guided walking tour and discover the heart of Bordeaux. You learn about the history of Bordeaux. You stroll through the mid of the stunning squares, avenues, cathedral sites. It's just those truly classic experience. You're learning all the history, you're walking with a local guide. When it comes to these classic excursions, usually we have the ship split up into 4 or 5 groups, about 20 people or so in each group with a local guide. In the afternoon, we do have a guided optional excursion that you would pay a little extra for if you want to Les Basins de Luminaire, where it's a breathtaking visit to a submarine base where there is art and music and you surround yourself in an immersive experience. Kind of like that, the projection show of those art shows that have gone across Canada, like that Vincent van Gogh one. It's more like that immersive experience. You're right you're actually part of the art. I always felt like when I'm in those shows. Again, there's overnight docking in Bordeaux, so you can explore Bordeaux at your own leisure as well at night. And then on day 7, we have 2 choices of excursions. You have an active choice, which is a bike ride along Bordeaux's Postcart River and views of Lake Way, or you can visit a classic excursion. You can visit a full day guided tour of a seaside resort at Arcachon on the Atlantic coast. Sorry, I had my little talk mention how I can mention how I can pronounce that Arcachon, which is 19th century architecture treasures taste its local history and is famous for the oysters and the wine area on the Atlantic coast. Again, we're overnight docking in Bordeaux, and then on day 8, of course, is your disembarkation date. But why I've always talked about why to go to Bordeaux, and I'm going to talk about this flyer just quickly before I talk about the Christmas market cruise, is that this itinerary is great if you've already experienced another river cruise itinerary. Maybe you went with Julie on the Douro. Maybe you've gone on the Rhine or the Danube. A lot of people will go to France for family heritage as well, or they love French wine, French cuisine. If you're a wine lover, I highly suggest this itinerary. Julie got in on early pricing, so her price point is lower than what you would see Avalon advertised if you go on Avalon's website. She booked early. She has great promotions, has great savings while going with the group with Julie. Also, you get prepaid and gratuities included with traveling with Julie and her groups as well. And then Julie can send you out this flyer after the presentation. And again, if you have any questions, both Julie and Colette are very familiar with the Avalon product. So the other itinerary I was going to highlight, this is a bit of a shorter itinerary, and Julie does have a group booked on this itinerary, November 24th to November 29th. This is a 5-night, 6-day itinerary, Budapest to Vienna. You can see you go as far west as Milk, and then you come back to Vienna. Christmas markets are trending. They are such a groovy way to see Europe. It's not as cold. If you're Julie's clients, it's not as cold as Alberta in these regions in this time of the year. Or Colette, maybe it could be similar temperatures where Colette resides. But it's just a nice way to travel. It's so magical at this time of year. It's not as crowded with tourists. It's more, you got the local crowds, which I love seeing locals interact, especially in the Christmas markets. But why would you want to go on a Christmas market cruise? Of course, the sights, they are more magical. And again, they're less crowded during the off season. The food, I eat my way through Christmas markets and drink my way through Christmas markets. But it's all about the culinary wonders of like the fried potatoes with the applesauce and the glühwein and the sausage and the chestnuts and the gingerbread and everything that you eat your way through a Christmas market. The weather, it's actually not too hot, not too cold. People always ask me how to dress. I have cruised at the season that this itinerary is, and I always say dress like an onion. You peel off the layers, make sure you have a waterproof layer, and warm socks, comfortable shoes, and yeah, you're going to be fine. It's actually very comfortable weather unless you're from somewhere south like Florida, like my colleague was. She was wearing her winter parka the whole time, where I was just wearing a sweater and a vest and a toque, right? So it's very, very comfortable weather to travel in. And the holiday spirit, it's all about the markets, the traditions, the decorations, the lights, the sun goes down early, just like here in Canada. So it starts getting dark around 5 o'clock and all the lights turn on. It's absolutely, absolutely magical. Here's some images of markets. You can see the gingerbreads, of course, the glühwein, the cathedral all decorated here. The Avalon river ship will have Christmas trees, it'll have garlands, it will have, I've seen sometimes they put little wreaths on everybody's door or a little ornament on everybody's door. You'll see gingerbreads, you'll see the glue vine on board, you'll see the cookies, you can see how festive the ship looks. A little different than those other images I showed you a little while back there. So on this itinerary, the day one in Budapest embarkation, you can come to the ship at any time. So if you arrive into Budapest, or maybe you arrived a day early, which most people do, come in a day early and explore Budapest a day early. There's lots to do in the Christmas markets, as well as there's a lot of things you can do in Budapest in your free time, like you can visit inside the Parliament building. You can book it and go speaking tour inside the Parliament building. You can go to the spas in Budapest. They have a lot of great shopping. There's a lot of great museums in Budapest. So on embarkation day, you might have come in a day or two early. And so on embarkation day, you're coming to the river ship. And again, you can arrive at any time. You can arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning, you arrive at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We just want to make sure that you're on the ship around by 3 o'clock. So that when your room is ready, you're on the ship, be able to figure out again everything about the ship, like I said on the Bordeaux itinerary. And then we do our briefing around 5 o'clock on the river ship with our safety briefing. On day 2, you will be in Budapest. We'll have a guided sightseeing tour that includes the Majestic Heroes Square, which I have an image here as well. You'll see the chain bridge, you'll see the cathedral, you'll see Fisherman's Bastion, see the Parliament building, as you can see here. And then we will overnight cruise to Bratislava this day. So you will have the afternoon free in Budapest to do all your Christmas market explorations as well. And Budapest is a trending Christmas market destination. It's I always say it's the new kid on the block. And it does open its Christmas markets earlier than some other areas. So that's why November 24th is a great date, because starting Budapest, we know the markets are already open before Advent starts. Day 3, we're in Bratislava, and you can see we do have a guided sightseeing tour of the old town, the cobblestone streets. You can see the town hall, you visit the Gothic halls, you see St. Martin's Cathedral, you see the iconic Bratislava Castle. It's all been cleaned up, beautiful white now. And it is Hungary's centuries-old coronation church you'll see as well. And then after this, you will have all the freedom in the world to enjoy the beautiful Christmas markets in Bratislava. And again, if you're a person like me that checks all the markets off your list, you collect the blue vine mugs, this would be a definitely iconic market to visit that most people go to because you're still outside of Germany and Austria. Famous, of course, for these ceramic ornaments as well, hand-painted ceramic ornaments. And of course, you can see some of the wooden ornaments in the image here. We do overnight a cruise to Melk. When you'll wake up and you're in Melk, and we take a guided tour of Melk's magnificent Benedictine Abbey. And after the tour of the Abbey, you can actually, if I can use my laser still working, there's stairs. If you walk out of the Abbey, there's stairs that walk on, you can see kind of follow down. They walk all the way down. And then you actually can walk the whole length of the street of Melk and then back out to the river ship here. And walking, I always say, take the motor coach up for the transfer for the local guided tour, and then walk down through the streets of Melk. Because every shop is ready for Christmas. And I think when I went to Melk the first time, my hot chocolate stopped my way through the whole town all the way back to the ship. And you can buy ornaments. It's just like a lively, Christmassy, festive street, and you would really enjoy it. And then you can walk back to the river ship. If you're not able to walk down, no worries. The motor coaches do offer transfers as well back down to the town and to back to the river ship as well. On board, we do have an Austrian cookie tasting, and you'll learn about how they make the famous Linzer cookies. We are have a very beautiful sailing day through the Baja Valley, which is famous for the apricot farms, the wineries, very scenic. So you'll have some scenery as your day sailing. And then we do arrive into Vienna for the evening, where you can have an option to go out to the Christmas markets right away that evening. I did throw in an image with snow. I don't think it snows like this every year in Vienna, but here's the squishy, squishy choo-choo train with the snow in the background. You can enjoy the markets in the evening. You have free time, and that's exactly what I did. As soon as I arrived in Vienna, I had a light dinner on the ship, and I went right to the Christmas markets of Vienna. Or you can do, if you're more into the music and the history of music, we do have the Royal Waltz concert as an optional excursion in Vienna. Day 5 is truly focusing on Vienna and the Christmas markets. So you'll have a morning tour of Vienna. We pick you up by motor coach and take you into Vienna, and you see all the famous Habsburg family empire sites. After this, you will have all the freedom in the world to enjoy the Christmas markets in each square in Vienna, from the iconic St. Stephen's Square to the Belvedere Christmas market you can see here. You have all the freedom to enjoy the Christmas markets. And then, of course, you can try the strudel. There's the Belvedere one, the image of the Belvedere Christmas market. But if you're Christmas market out, or you've seen enough or bought enough at the Christmas markets, we do offer an optional excursion to Schönbrunn Palace. We do have to take a motor coach here. It's a little further out. So you do have an inside guided tour of Schönbrunn Palace. Learn about, again, all the site and the famous Four Sissi, of course, and the Habsburg family. But Schönbrunn Palace also has a Christmas market. So after your guided tour of Schönbrunn Palace, you have free time to explore the Christmas markets at Schönbrunn Palace. And then the evening, again, is free. Again, some people come back to the river ship and have dinner and then go back to the market. Some people stay in the markets late and then come and have a later dinner on Avalon. But again, like I kind of highlighted at the beginning of my presentation, almost an hour ago, I said Christmas market cruising is a little different than traditional river cruising. So you're truly focusing on the Christmas markets. The cruise itself ends on day 6 with the disembarkation of Vienna, but I highly recommend to add more time in Vienna, or maybe go to extend to Salzburg is an iconic area. I love the Christmas markets in Salzburg and the Sound of Music, and the famous for Mozart. So again, Julie and Colette can help you with all your pre and post options, because the list is endless. The list is truly endless. Or Prague, you can extend in Prague as well. So we can see here's the flyer that Julie can send out with a follow-up, but the cruise itself is November 24th to 29th. It's an amazing price point. Remember, this is all in Canadian dollars too. And I got to be honest, our dollar isn't so great, right? So if you can buy in Canadian dollars, this is great. And we did our pricing early, so this is definitely a steal of a deal. Starting at $26.45 in the Avalon Deluxe Stateroom, and the Panorama Suite start at $38.59 for Category B. And when you're reading these, there's not much about price increase from when you get into the Panorama Suites from B to A to P. So it really truly is where you want to be positioned on the river ship. We do include the prepaid gratuities because it's a group as well. And to secure your space on Avalon and at the Bordeaux itinerary or the Christmas market itinerary, it's a $250 per person deposit to secure your room and your rate, and to reach out to Julie and Colette if you have any questions regards to air, the pre and the post, and your financials of what you need to do to book the river cruises. So this is the end of my formal presentation. So I will say thank you. I can invite Julie and Colette to come back on if they want to turn their cameras back on. Exactly an hour.
Good job. Thank you so much, Leslie. It was so good. You included so much detail on really what it's like and day by day. And I really had to contain myself to not like jump in and like, oh yeah, we made a tile, on the on the Douro River cruise, or all the different things that we did. But it is such a nice experience. Like you said, I feel like I have these images in my mind from the various river cruises, and yeah, the destinations are awesome, but a lot of the things are just those special experiences, like laying in bed along the Douro. It was so beautiful.